hour or 1 2 hours, I think that would offer a little bit more time and opportunities for us to explore further what we can do together to address the very pressing issue of livestock and climate change. So I think that the objective of this workshop is really to have three things done at the end of the day. I hope that we can achieve that. The first one is really to explore the innovation and the South-South learning. We talked about low and middle income countries to build the climate resilient livestock system and enhance the disease prevention. So when we talked about livestock, we talked a lot about productivity, how to improve the productivity, but the gas emission and disease are very key in particular in that region. The second objective is really to share with you some of the successful examples of the work that INRI, SAADC and partners have been doing in that areas to improve the livestock health and resilience. And finally, with the group work at the end, I hope that we stay with us because that is very important to have the knowledge, the wisdom and the discussion to identify some of the investment, development opportunities, research need and action for supporting sustainable but low emission livestock system in low and middle income countries, hopefully. You see, so that's basically the ideas of this workshop, and we would like to thank the organizers for accepting the proposal from INRI and partners to have that short session the last day, but I see that we are still motivated to do the job. And also, we are very glad to present here for the, I don't know, maybe the second or third time, because last time we was in Laos as well. And this year we have a bit more thing to show you, but more importantly to share and to extract the contribution so that we can build up a better agenda for resilience livestock system in our region, but also globally. So thank you very much, and I wish you a very good time and very good discussion in this session.
Thank you. So it's very clear now all the objective. And now I would like to introduce you to have a closer look at one of INRI's newest initiative, the Livestock and Climate Solution Hub. And I would like to introduce Dr. Aditi Mukherjee, who's the lead of the hub. We'll give you a short introduction. Yes, your floor.
Thank you, Chi, thank you, Hong. I think those of you who were at the plenary upstairs, we talked about the various work that ILRI and partner does in the context of livestock and climate. And the important thing to understand is that not all that work is directly the primary focus is often not the climate. What we have now realized is many of the traditional good practices, better animal health, better vaccine, better nutrition, all of them have very high climate co-benefits. So now what we are trying to do is to look at all the interventions that there are from the different subfields within livestock and to kind of bring them all together under the climate co-benefit kind of way. What are the factors that reduce at least GHG emission intensity, if not absolute emissions, and then to see what works best, what works where. That kind of is the ambition that we have in our mind in launching the Livestock and Climate Solutions Hub. So what I will not do is to repeat a lot of what I have already said in the upstairs plenary. I can see many of you were there in that plenary, so I'll just skip this. This is just for those of you who may not know who we are. ILRI is a part of this consortium called the CGIAR. CGIAR is the world's largest publicly funded research and innovation organization in the field of agriculture. And it has got 15 centers. One of the centers and various centers work on different things, rice, wheat, livestock. So we are the livestock center. And in livestock, there are at least 2 other centers who also work on livestock within the CGIAR system. One is Alliance of Biodiversity and CET. We have colleagues represented here, and the other center is ICARDA, which works on small ruminants. But ILRI is the center that is mandated with livestock research within the CGIAR. And the initiative of the hub is something that is a partnership between all of the CG centers that work on livestock and with our external partners. What exactly is the Livestock and Climate Solution Hub? So this is this is our attempt to do a bit of a multi-sectoral, multi-stakeholder approach, where we are hoping that the hub will provide home for partnerships, home for solutions, and a home where people come together to discuss and to know what works and then to scale those up solutions. So some of our ambition is around promoting this multi-stakeholder approach to co-develop and scale low-emission livestock systems. Again, the point to note here is that the low-emission livestock system will be a co-benefit to other better management practices, like could be management practices around health, practices around nutrition. So the outcome, what we are hoping is low-emission livestock systems, but that also has a lot of other co-benefits in terms of production, productivity. So some of the things that we are hoping to do in the platform, and a lot of it is already done. So the point of the platform is to bring them under one umbrella, to be able to answer some of those questions we were seeing in the plenary come up time and again. What feed works best? What measurement systems for greenhouse gas, methane emission works best? So those kind of evidence-based questions is what we are hoping to answer. We would do through by convening multi-stakeholder platforms. Today's session today is one of those examples. What is cost effective? Some of the work we want to do with our partners is scaling those kind of solutions, and for scaling we will also be looking more at the policy dimensions, what kind of policies and institutions we need for scaling. And that would lead to strengthening of livestock policies and increasing investments. I think with a lot of the narrative around GHG and livestock, unless there is a narrative that also talks about livelihoods, talks about resilience, talks about the value of these kind of systems, funding in the future can become challenging. So one of the objectives is to bring together all of us under an umbrella so that we can speak in the same voice and raise funding for the work that needs to be done, which is low emission livestock systems without compromising livelihoods and income and nutrition. And then a lot of the work would be around measuring an impact of GHG emissions, etc. So it's not, none of it what we are proposing are new work, but the job of the hub. A hub is a platform where we are bringing in the different strands of work together to give a big holistic message. And a lot of these, the hub is basically the best way to think, and many of us here are all are from the university system. So the best way to describe a hub would be, it's like a virtual center, and maybe compared to kind of a university type center where chair groups contribute their name, idea to building a collaborative high impact approach. So the idea is that all the work that we are all doing in our different capacities kind of get harvested in this hub, and many different strands come together so that we can see the various kinds of evidence. So a lot of the work of the hub would be in building the evidence base and also doing so in a rigorous way. So we are hoping to promote more extensive use of systematic reviews, meta-analysis, that kind of work, so that we really know what works where and what are our knowledge gaps. Then the focus will be to bring integrated science solutions. So again, not in silos, not like genetics and health and nutrition and rangeland management, all working together hand in hand to learn from each other. And the other objective is to build partnership between North-South. What are the technologies developed in the global North that can be economically transferred to global South? But also global South to South learning. What works in global South can also work in another global South. So that's the kind of platform that we are hoping to provide with this hub. The vision of this hub is we have these four different, we call them petals, because it kind of looks like a flower. So a big part of the petal would be bringing together research and climate smart innovations. Again, as I said, that climate smart innovations are happening in the various parts of the livestock story, right? In genetics, in nutrition, in health. So one important part would be to bring that together and to look it through a lens of trade-offs and co-benefits. Does something that we do for health improvement, does it also lead to reduced GHG emissions? And does it also have better impacts on reproductive health, etc.? Then the other petal would be, to be able to do this, we would be doing a lot of convening of multi-stakeholder platforms, and and we want to do that in Southeast Asia in early next year, to bring together our partners to see where are the potential for partnerships, collaboration, joint fundraising, joint proposals. Then our third petal is around scaling innovations through partnerships. What are the successful innovations? What can be scaled? Getting an understanding of that landscape would be a crucial role of the platform. And our final petal is around policy support for NDC. So you know, I mean, all the countries are obligated under UNFCCC to provide their nationally determined contributions, and livestock features in many of those. But very often, there isn't enough feedback that goes from us researchers to the policymakers of what kind of livestock action can be a part of the NDC. So one of the ambition is that all the science that we do here actually feeds into those climate processes, and all the countries, particularly the LMICs, are able to put in concrete interventions in their NDCs and also in their NAPs, and increasingly also in the NDSAPs. NDSAPs are similar to NDCs, but that's for the Biodiversity Convention. So we want to take the science that's being done by all of us and feed it into the international climate and biodiversity processes. Because unless we do that, there is a serious risk of the livestock being quite sidelined with a particular narrative that this is the only contributor of GHG, without forgetting the nutritional deficiencies that this part of the world still has. I think I have just shown this diagram earlier. That's one of the things. So the way we are thinking is that think through everything we do from a mitigation, adaptation, co-benefit perspective. Does it reduce GHG emission while not compromising productivity, while not compromising nutrition, etc.? And then anything we do would be kind of examined through the lens of trade-offs and co-benefits, which is often difficult to do it when we have very specialized topic and we are looking into just that topic. The point of the hub is we are able to compare the topics and look at trade-offs and benefits of various technologies, various approaches. The farming systems we generally work in, and we are hoping to have evidence base from all of those semi-intensive crop livestock as well as pastoral systems, because I don't need to tell this room of specialists because the system matters a lot where the livestock is raised. And the outcome is this would be, we kind of envisage the hub as a go-to place for all the evidence that there is. If you want to know, my country wants to invest in GHG measurement, what is the most cost-effective thing I can do, then kind of, we should have answers about the various ways in which we are measuring emissions and what works for what kind of situation. Maybe even you can have one of this high-cost system, but several of those low-cost. So which are the most effective ones? I mean, that's just an example, but there could be other examples. What feed works best for my particular area? So these would be all evidence that would come through published studies. Think of it as an assessment or a evidence synthesis. So that's our long-term hope, that this would be a bit of a one-stop shop that brings together the best of science, the best of practice in one place, and provides the information that our scientists need, the policymakers need, and even the private sector needs. So the hub is where solutions come together. As I said, that each one of these are like solutions that many of us are working on. How do we bring them together? And hub is where we are hoping that we would be able to unify.
So now we have the resources to do it. So I think, and then I think it's very timely, the trip to Kenya.
On One Health there at all. There's nothing on human health there that needs to be linked into your research programs. And likewise, we've all talked about how many smallholder farmers there are in the world, producing a third of the world's...
Our project to improve human health through strengthening the capacity of government and community to prevent, control, and eliminate the risk of transport disease and using under One Health and using ICT. And so we have 5 components.